What you do for yourself depends on what you think of yourself. What you think of yourself depends on what you know of yourself, and what you know of yourself depends on what you've been told. Great dawn in Cleveland, Ohio. Vince Robinson, 360 Info Network. Great show lined up for you today, and we are winging it, playing it by ear. Like, got a lot of things going on at the very last minute. I am hoping and believing that our co-host Hamptonio is on the line. My brother, are you on the line? Let us know. In the meantime, we have two very great guests lined up for you. We have Mr. Eriq Troi, and we also have Ms. Kristi Copez. Both of them are artists in the greater Cleveland area. Eriq is down in Akron. Kristi is up here in Cleveland. And we are going to be talking about the artist as an essential. Artists are an essential part of our landscape. And with the current pandemic that we have not been getting the respect that we are due as artists in this community, and the role that we play as healers. So we want to dive into this topic just a little bit today, and perhaps by the end of this hour we'll have a better understanding of exactly how essential artists are. So with that, I'm going to ask our engineer Juju to fade that theme music down and let us get started with some meaningful conversation. Thank you so much, Juju. Juju is standing in for Tristan, who is our normal engineer, and we are happy to have her on board, and we're sure she's going to do a bang-up job for us today. So, who do I have on the line?
Yeah, can you hear me, Vince?
I hear you just fine, my brother, and welcome to the show.
Yes. Good. Great dawning, as you say. A little cloudy today, but, we here, we still surviving, and seems like so much is still going on with the second surge, supposedly, and the difficulties different states are going through and dealing with this. And we talk of federal troops and, not the troop agents per se, being deployed different places, and then some of the pushback they get from the different cities are saying that they don't want federal agents there. So it's just a lot to bog down the further, depression that some of the people may be going through with trying, being, stuffed up in the house and not being able to go anywhere and do things like that. So, but, we have to deal with it, and, we do what we can to try to plunge our way through and to keep our sanity. And me personally, I just use it to try to keep focus on, the end game, as far as for me, retirement, and we're working towards that way. But we want to, from last week, we want to remind some of our listeners about, I think it's, as I thought about it, I think it's more and more important, that the group that came on last week, and also Brother Greg, that talked about building up your immune system, with certain supplements. If you're interested still to get in touch with Greg and dealing with some of the immune building supplements, 216-906-6321, 216-906-6321, and also the bacterial prevention group that was on as well. I'm thinking about businesses and restaurants and churches who may employ people, or who may have people coming to their establishment, maybe want to, keep themselves and their surroundings safe. So that bacterial prevention group that can come out and just see if you're sanitizing or disinfecting on your own, just to see how well of a job you're doing. They can put your, check your business out, just see how well you're doing with that. So again, if you want to get in touch with them, to have them come out and do a reading, or actually take care of your facilities to make sure you and your people feel safe, 216-856-2166, 216-856-2166. So get a constant reminder on that, because I think it's important with this second surge that's coming up.
Okay. All right, so shifting gears, we're going to talk about artists in our community, and we have aboard with us Ms. Kristi Copez. Kristi is a sculptor She is doing a lot of things that I can't tell you because her bio is on my telephone and I'm using it for Facebook Live right now. Perfect transparency. But I've known Kristi for quite some time, and I know that she is one who advocates for artists and one who takes the subject of healing very seriously. Kristi, today you posted a quote by Toni Morrison, I believe. Could you give us that quote if you have access to it? Because I thought it was extremely insightful in terms of the conversation that we're having. And while you're looking that up, I will also talk about our other guest, Eriq Troi. Eriq is, I'll just say he's a musician. I know he plays guitar, but he plays a whole bunch of other instruments, and he's also very much into recording technology and just a phenomenal person. I had occasion to interview him on my television show, Open Door Cleveland, and I saw something that he posted on Facebook a couple of days ago, and it was actually the birth of the idea to do this show. So, Kristi, give us that quote. I'm looking at it, but I think it would sound good coming from you.
Yeah, Grand Rising, Vince. I'm thankful to be here and to be a part of this discussion on the essential role of artists, especially today. Yeah, I did post this morning a quote by Toni Morrison, and it says, "This is precisely the time when artists go to work. There is no time for despair, no time for self-pity, no need for silence, no room for fear. We speak, we write, we do language. That is how civilizations heal."
A very profound statement. Why does that resonate with you?
It resonates because I believe in the power of art to educate and edify and energize revolutionary transformation. I feel like COVID-19 has revealed the need of recognition of this revolutionary transformation that's going on in the world. I think that we have such a great responsibility as artists to either document what's going on or to push the envelope, if you will, of what needs to be changed.
Okay. And if you could briefly just talk about the art that you practice.
Yeah, there's a couple things. I do what I call disruptive renderings, and they are sculptural vessels made of ceramic, very interactive. They are abstract, open prayer vessels. And the interactive part is interesting because every time I show, I stand back and I observe people literally taking a prayer stance and engaging with the art. And they always come back and report some profound change, awareness, and sometimes even healing. And the other thing I do is poetic utterances. I consider myself a conduit of ideas and recognitions and sometimes just descriptions of what we need to face.
Okay. I'm going to ask the engineer, she's got me on her headphones. Do we have Eriq Troi on the line yet?
We do. Putting him in now.
Great. Right on. So, Eriq Troi, I'm looking at your Facebook post, and I'm going to read it. I don't know if you have it up for yourself right now, but it says, "So, do me a favor," and this is in all caps, "erase every piece of music, song, or chant from every culture you know. Don't stop there! Exclamation point. Erase every picture with paint, ink, pencils, and other utensils. No, don't stop there. Every photo, film, literature, oration, architectural structure must go as well. Now what do you have? And yet art is not essential. Don't fight me on this. You will lose." Very profound statement, my brother. It definitely got my attention. So tell me, what provoked that thought?
So, first of all, thank you for having me. Can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you fine.
Okay, great. Yeah, thanks for having me. What provoked that? So I think I was
on another artist friend of mine page, and I think it was the Labor Department or something, some type of. I don't want to get it wrong, but it was some type of Labor Department type thing, and they were talking about what was essential. And artists, the most non-essential were artists, according to them. And I saw that, and I'm like, okay, no, this is incorrect. You know, with every pandemic, every crisis, with every traumatic thing that any, not just but any society, pick one. Everything that has happened that has been traumatic, be it an outbreak of war, viruses, so on and so forth, chaos. What got the society through was its artists, not its academics, not its politicians, none of that. It was its artists. The artists were needed to help keep the overall communal sanity. And it was its artists that pulled everybody through. You can go through history. Don't pick a society. Just pick one and pick a time in history, and you will see where the artists stepped up, showed out. Pick one. Oh, and to the sister that came on, nope, don't stop there. Get rid of every textile and fabric. Get rid of that too, if it's not essential. So,
right.
Yeah, I know some quilt makers up in New York. So, and my wife, she too, she's a fabric artist as well. So, yeah, you got to get rid of all of that too, if it's not essential. So, And I just imagined a world without any art, none, such as your textiles, such as your music, such as your actors, such as your literary artists. Every book that you have ever read, fiction and nonfiction, an artist wrote that. So, in order for Netflix, tech artists put together the algorithms and the AI to create what you know as Netflix. So, yeah, we got to get rid of that too. So, yeah.
Break when ready.
Yes. So it's interesting, one, because I saw the very same thing that you saw months ago. And the very first thought that I had was, how can you say that an artist is not essential? So when I saw your post, it completely resonated with me. And two, I want to jump in on something that you brought up because it adds another layer to this. You talked about the quilt makers, and we know that back in the day, our sisters were making quilts that had information in them that could assist folks in their quest for freedom. You know, you also
drew maps.
Yes.
Yeah.
You also had sisters who were braiding maps into scalps. So that, you know, so when you look at the creativity that we have as a people, and you understand the role of our creativity in terms of liberation and healing, you just begin to scratch the surface on how vital artists are in our community. So that brings us to being where we are right now, but we got to take a break because time is upon us. So I'll just remind you that you're listening to 360 Info Network with Vince Robinson and Hamptonio right here on AM 1490 WERE. We'll be right back after this.
Hi, Chuck Hanover Jr. here for Annie P's Black Wall Street Cafe, located at 3216 East 93rd Street and the Kinsman Square Plaza. Annie P's goes wings crazy. Wings crazy every Tuesday and Thursday with 60-cent whole wings. That's Annie P's located at 3216 East 93rd Street in the Kinsman Square Plaza, or you may get them a call at area code 216-429-2356. And I'm once again, area code 216-429-2356. That's Annie P's Black Wall Street Cafe as they go wings crazy every Tuesday and Thursday, 60-cent whole wings. Annie P's Black Wall Street Cafe, hours are open Tuesday through Thursday, 11 a.m. to 8 p.m., Friday and Saturday, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., and Sundays, 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. NEP's Black Wall Street Cafe. We'll see you there.
We're back on 360 Info Network. Hamptonio and Vince Robinson. Our special guests today are Kristi Copez. She is a sculptor, and we have Eriq Troi, a musician. And those of you who are in the audience may or may not know that Hamptonio is also an artist. I know that he is a drummer, and he also is one of those folks who was classified as an essential worker because he is also a police officer. Brother Hamptonio, what are you seeing in terms of your role as an artist in the community during this time?
Well, I kind of concur with some of what the guests are saying of how essential it can be in dealing with art and how over the past and as far as history is concerned that, how art has been used as a role to inspire, to influence, to recapture, to rededicate and put in the hearts and the minds of people that have maybe gone through whatever war, tragedies, or whatever, as far as remembrance is concerned. And kind of switching a little bit, what has me to thinking about, currently and as far as the society is concerned, as far as art is concerned, and how it can be manipulated and monitored in a certain way to control people as well, because that's how powerful it can be. And I think that's why, the powers that be, kind of do what they can to control some aspects of art, because it can be inspiring, can be revolutionary, and things of that nature, and that pretty much takes us to me as far as current, when we're dealing with certain different genres of music and things like that. But in dealing with what I do as far as what we tried to do, and what my teacher told me as far as being an African drummer is concerned, and what I was learning and teaching was he said, I'm just giving you back what you have left, and what you forgot on the African continent, so I'm bringing it back to you, and it was always inspiring, that drum is the heartbeat. They call it the heartbeat, and every culture on the planet has a drum, and it's very inspiring, and it really, when you really get into the spirituality of the drum, it really is enlightening. They speak even about the goat skin and the animal skin and the tree being a living entity, and some of the shamans and stuff go through a whole prayer situation and dealing with before they even cut the tree and making the drum. So it's a spiritual piece, and and that spirituality can radiate throughout the community, and we use those drums during slavery time to help guide people and speak to the people and give people information and things like that. So it could, it's very important in past times and in present times.
Okay. Brother Eriq, I know that during the period of lockdown, I could observe from Facebook that you were being extremely creative, and I know that part of your mission as a musician is to empower other musicians in terms of them getting their music heard and so forth and so on. Could you talk about your art, your craft specifically, and how you use it to affect the lives of other people?
Yeah, thank you. So with this this pandemic going on, the cool thing is, what I am is I'm a musician, producer, composer, and So what I did was I've been busy doing composing film scores. I did two film shorts, and a feature film. Shout outs to a sister by the name of Lena West, and she did a documentary called Create Through Crisis, which is basically what we're just talking about right now. And I did the score to that short film. It's a documentary short film. And it's real funny because this film is talking about what we're talking about right now, creating through crisis. And the cool thing about for me is that everybody is silent now, or not silent, but is a little quieter, which forces you to pay attention, which forces you to listen. And what better time to hear music is when everybody's kind of quiet, when it's less noisy. And with me, with my craft, it has allowed me to have time to create, time to really just focus. And yeah, with the films and stuff, the full feature film, which is a friend of mine, Mickey Black, this film is called Hush, and I got a chance to really score that, and she and I, collaborated on full film. No release date on the film just yet. And then I did a brother by the name of Marcel. Marcel, please don't be mad at me. I forgot his last name, but he did a short film called The Last Drink, and it was too based within a quarantine society and a situation that happened. It's a short noir film, and I scored that film. So it allowed me to have time, with the time off and being in the quote unquote quarantine, to really just focus on what I want my life to look like. I actually saw a vision of my life during this time, and I keep that vision right there. I don't focus on what is happening. I'm focused on what is to become, and what is to become is I am the next film score guy. I am that now. It's not. I'm going to be. I'm that now.
Right.
I'm actually scoring films now.
Yes.
My gift is making my way now. Not the hustle, not the grind, the gift. And, during that time of quiet and peace, I can hone in and be aligned with the source. So that's how it's happening to me. And not to get too deep or too esoteric or whatever, but that's how it's affected me. I hope did that answer your question? I hope that answered your question.
It does, and I want to go from there to underscoring the importance of being creative as you are being creative. I mean, I saw one of the videos that you posted, and you were playing some of what you had composed, and it was like Terrence Blanchard, it was like Stanley Clarke, it was like the other musicians that are in the role of scoring films. And I think when I look at that, I also look at the role that we have in terms of telling stories, because you use that music to underscore a story. But we have to we have to begin to take more of a role in controlling the narrative, because the narrative that we get from mainstream media is that we are victims, and we're so much more than that. We're actually victors, but we don't understand our relationship to victory. So when you look at what we do as artists, we have to be those who empower others by changing their status from victim to victor.
Yes.
Yes. Kristi, I want to bring you into the conversation and ask you.
I'm jumping at the bit.
Okay. We got 2 minutes before we go to break, but please jump in.
Well, I'm excited about what Eriq was saying about the impact that he's making during COVID, and especially what you were just saying about our voice and being heard. The way that this quiet time has I've been used is through my words, through poetry, but especially through position. I have had a greater opportunity lately to be that advocate for Black artists and artists of color, especially in the northeastern Ohio area. And that's been really important to my mission and vision, period. I feel like we are, again, it's such a responsibility that we have as artists to use this time that our voices seemingly have been silent, but to be the conduit and the connection to our community, especially to advocate for other artists.
Okay. The time has come for us to truly finance our freedom and support each other's efforts to heal and continue to build our community. For 15 years, following Lynn Hampton's lead, we have freely given of our time and effort to bring you quality programming every week. We know that our listenership is vast in Cleveland and on the internet. Now we must expand our reach and crystallize our focus. It's a smart time and choice to advertise your organization and your business with 360 Info Network. So grow with us, support our businesses, support our advertisers because they are quality and they make our efforts possible. I just want to shout out a few folks, a few businesses that are supporting 360 Info Network. The New East Side Market, it's a grocery wellness community in the heart of the community at 10505 St. Clair. Chicuyo Resto Bar on the east side of Cleveland at 4620 Richmond Road in Warrensville Heights. Annie P's Black Wall Street Cafe, which is at 3216 East 93rd Street near Kinsman, and Cleveland's own African American Museum on Crawford Road and the Huff neighborhood. Shifting gears back to the subject at hand, we have a deficit of leadership when it comes to artists in our community. We don't have any formal organizational relationship to the city of Cleveland. We're in a cultural art district that is primarily led by Cuyahoga Arts and Culture. But I've been involved in a few conversations, and we're trying to get artists organized because they don't have a voice in city government, municipal government, and as artists, we really don't have a voice in county government. We do now have a poet laureate. Honey Bell Bay is the poet laureate of Cuyahoga County, and it's a great move. We applaud them for making that happen. But we need to see more activism from artists on in a political sense. What do you all think of that idea?
I'll try and answer.
Okay.
I'll try because that's been one of them things that I've been thinking about for a while. And I'm just going to speak personally.
Okay.
I think that artists, we are our own government, meaning that we're our own government, except we just don't know it. And for the last, I would say 20 years, 15 to 20 years, we've been looking for a savior, for someone to do it for us. For me, in the music community, there was there was a gentleman for the music community. There was Gerald Levert. He was the music industry, not the music scene, the music industry, which allowed the whole world to look at the Cleveland music scene as a whole. He was that conduit. And I believe that everybody, and it just seems to be an unspoken word that in Cleveland we are looking for that savior again. We're looking for that one who's going to bring the industry to Cleveland. Here's the issue. We don't need to bring the industry to Cleveland. Create a Cleveland industry. We have everything. However, it's just a matter of artists taking responsibility, changing the mindset as individuals. How do we do that? By talking with each other. A lot of us don't even know that we exist. I didn't know about Sister Kristi until now. You see what I'm saying? Maybe she can, and it's just a matter of collaboration. We got this, I'm going to put Cleveland on the map mentality. That is incorrect. You know, when you go to the New Yorks and the Californias, the Londons, there are communities of people. Yeah, they have their cliques, but these cliques also understand collaboration. You know, I was just listening to this brother Questlove, and he was talking about the Philadelphia scene. Go back to 96, that time between 92 and 98, where Philadelphia, the new resurgence of the Philadelphia sound, with the Jill Scotts, the Questlove, all of them cats, the Jaguar Wrights. You know, that whole scene was redefining soul music and black music as we know it today. You know, and everybody was coming out of Philly. Well, if you go there, that was just a clique of people who were making noise, and it was a large collaboration. Well, we had that in Cleveland. We just forgot. And then we're just, it's just a matter of getting back to the elders, like myself. And I had to realize, like, oh, when did that happen? But, right. We got to get back to the elders and reaching out to the next wave of cats coming up, saying, hey, you guys are standing on something. Here's where it's too late for us, but it's just in time for you guys. And I think as an elder, that's the message we need to just go hard on. So, but that's just what I think.
Mm-hmm. I also want to talk about the responsibility, and I'll let you jump in real quick, Kristi. I just want to talk about the responsibility of our artists to our community, because we got and this is no judgment about, the people who are making popular music, but a lot of it does not serve us well. And we can't expect folks who have not been conscious all their lives to, come into that, multi-million-dollar contract and all of a sudden find themselves and find a voice of consciousness. But there are many of us, such as Eriq and others, who are creating music to support an entertainment infrastructure, a local entertainment infrastructure. And it's artists like him and others who are able to reach people and bring them quality in terms of message and in terms of music. I just wanted to throw that in there right quick. Kristi, you wanted to offer something.
When I'm listening to you, Eriq, especially talking about just looking for a savior, I have to agree with that. I have actually just last fall been asked by several artists to be somewhat of a representational savior, to bring us all together. And I've been contemplating that for so long, because there have been so many important efforts, including you, Vince, to help bring us together to reveal our existence here, which I think is so important. If we can just uncover, reveal, and show that infrastructure is already here. When you said, Eriq, that it's a little bit too late for us elders, I kind of bristled a bit, because I thought, wait a minute, isn't part of our job to mentor and to model for the folks that's coming behind us? We may not have the voice as much as we would like to have, but we can make that space for newer and younger artists to have their voice heard. One of the things I really believe in is working from the inside out, which earlier I was talking about position. I like the idea of being placed or pushing into breaking open those spaces, and not to be the representative, the savior, but one voice among many.
Right.
Yes. Don't want.
Well,
go ahead.
Well, to respond to that, I mean, I didn't mean as it is too late for you to create, because for me, I'm just getting started. You know what I'm saying? I'm just now getting started. But what I'm saying in regards to is, so when you're talking about that energy, I had this conversation with a young rapper beat maker friend of mine, cat old enough to be my son. And he's just, with youth, you got that energy. I had that energy. I don't have that same energy no more, but I have the wisdom. And what I'm saying is, they have the thing with youth is that thing called time. And not saying that my time is up, but my time to do that is up. My time to be out in the streets, that's up. Now, what do you do when you're in the streets? What do you do when you're in the clubs or whatever? Okay, so now you got to put something back in there that's meaningful. Well, where do you get it if you don't got it? Well, you got to go to the, as he say, the OGs. You got to go to your elders.
Right.
You have to get that information. They don't know what they don't know. When I talked to, we were talking about the whole financial thing of the arts, and which I hope, which I wanted to bring up. This cost. Your fabric, your tools, that stuff costs. Lord knows my studio costs money. the electricity to run must cost money. So how do we talk about that? How do we create a financial system that is specifically for the arts? See, back in the day, it was record companies and stuff like that, how to understand finance. And that's one of the things that, why you get those, what's now glorified, what you see, and I'm talking specifically and particularly to, that genre of hip hop where it says, where, you have to be the hustler who happens to be the dope rapper. You see what I'm saying? You're just not a dope rapper. You're a hustler first. Now, why is that glorified? I can go off into a tangent about that, but I had to point that out and be like, okay, these guys were all about the money first, not the gift of music. You see, and it's the gift that'll understand, that'll make the way, that'll keep you around forever, like the Quincy Joneses of the world. You see what I'm saying? Quincy can make music forever. These hustlers cannot. And I challenge anybody to challenge me on that. The hustle is only for a short time, and I hate to get biblical with it because I don't subscribe to that. And that's just me. But I love that story where, Jesus was up on the mountaintop and he was tempted and said, hey, man, I can give you everything. I can give you these cars. I can give you these women and these contracts. And Jesus looked at him and like, hit thee behind thee. Why? Because it was his in the first place.
That's right.
Okay. And I point that out in regards to music and the music business. This industry, this gift that is bestowed upon us, this gift of music, it already belonged to us. So we don't have to do that. Now, how do we monetize it in a way where it makes sense? Alignment with the source, with the creator. It just, not to be, people don't have to believe it if you don't want to. You can choose to go with it or not. But everybody talks about the hustle, the hustle, the hustle. No, the gift, the gift, the gift. Yes. Focus on that. And it too will make your way. It too will make your finances.
Right.
So
let's talk about the money, because I think the money is part of what created this whole issue in the first place. And the issue was that essential workers are entitled to be out there and they're entitled to make a living for themselves. But when they put us in quarantine and when they say we have to be 6 feet apart from each other and that we have to wear masks and we have to adapt to these new changes in our social infrastructure, and then artists who would provide these services for a community are pushed out and not recognized in terms of being eligible for grants and eligible for money and eligible for pay, it affects our livelihood. And I think that's probably the core of this whole conversation. If the government doesn't respect us enough to understand what our value is and to make a way for us as they make ways for other folks, then we got something that needs to be dealt with. Hamptonio, we haven't heard from you, but I want to give you an opportunity to jump into this conversation. What are your thoughts about musicians and artists in general being pushed out of the financial support that's coming from the government?
I think that is an issue because, like I said, everyone has to eat. But what I really had to say was from the conversation that you guys was talking about it, and I'm just listening. It just reminds me we're going down the same.
You're breaking up.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, you were breaking up.
Okay, can you hear me better now?
Yes, we do.
There you go.
Okay. Yeah, it seems like that we're going down that same path of being in a harmonious society, because each, like with art and like with everything else, it has its role and it has its part. And I think that we as a society have kind of lost that piece. If I'm going back to the mindset, this is what I'm trying to say, is that, business owners, artists, and things, we seem like we're having that same problem of not being able to navigate and to stick together and understanding the role that each one of these entities play as a society. you know, and we having this problem of coming together and knowing each other's worth and its position and pushing the role in the society through. You know, and that's how I'm looking at it and seeing, because, you know, business owners, you know, if people don't understand the purpose, the role, and the need that the society or the culture needs to push it forward, and I'm saying it's dealing with the mindset, because I was speaking to the point of you guys saying if not you, then who? You guys got to come together as a society and make a point, make a stand to push it forward or what you're trying to do. And I think that comes with us knowing, you know, I'm a historian and going back to our culture and who we are. And the arts have a role in society. And if we don't understand that role, which is one of the pegs on the spurs on the wheel that keeps this whole ball rolling, so we don't know how it fits into a society and it's, you know, and what it's supposed to do, then it tends to be, you know, off track and broken. And that's what I'm seeing with everything. That's why I push so hard of us knowing who we are, knowing culturally who we are, and with that, you know, things wouldn't be as fragmented. You know what I mean? I think that's the key to all of us. This whole thing working for us as a people culturally. You know.
Okay. You're listening to 360 Info Network with Hamptonio and Vince Robinson. We're talking with Kristi Copez and Eriq Troi, two very profound and significant artists in Northeast Ohio. We'll be back with more 360 Info Network.
Hi, Chuck Hanover Jr. here for NEP's Black Wall Street Cafe, located at 3216 East 93rd Street in the Kinsman Square Plaza. NEP's goes wings crazy. Wings crazy every Tuesday and Thursday with 60-cent whole wings. That's NEP's located at 3216 East 93rd Street in the Kinsman Square Plaza, or you may get them a call at area code 216-429-2356. And I'm once again, area code 216-429-2356. That's NEP's Black Wall Street Cafe as they go wings crazy every Tuesday and Thursday, 60-cent whole wings. NEP's Black Wall Street Cafe, hours are open Tuesday through Thursday, 11 a.m. to 8 p.m., Friday and Saturday, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., and Sundays, 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. NEP's Black Wall Street Cafe, we'll see you there.
We're back on AM 1490, 360 Info Network. I'm Vince Robinson along with Hamptonio and our special guests, Eriq Troi and Kristi Copez. I just want to acknowledge the folks who are watching us on Facebook Live. We have Jillian Johns, Cassandra Salahuddin, Simi Davis, Stephen E. Boyd, and Stephen offers this opinion. He says it will absolutely never be too late for any elder to contribute and be major parts of all aspects of art. We need a new energy and new thinking that sees broadly. That's our problem. The new art is beyond age demographics. Grow the art and remember traditional thoughts. And to that, Simi Davis says ashe, but I think she was saying ashe to Eriq Troi, and I'm sure he said something profound that elicited that response. So we'll continue the conversation, and we're talking about the need to have artists represented in government and the need for artists to be recognized as essential aspects of our community. I know that a lot of nonprofit organizations have been tremendously affected by this so-called pandemic. Yeah. You're seeing dollars dwindle, but at the same time, you're seeing changes in the landscape. I know, Kristi, you just became a board member for a local organization. Could you talk about how important it is for us to be in those roles and how that can offer hope and empowerment for artists?
Yeah, I can't overstate how important it is. When the opportunity came up for me to get involved with this organization, I struggled, to be honest with you, because this organization needed to, quote unquote, diversify. And I was chosen to be that person to break open that space. And I did not want to be that, what I call that good Negro, that one that is put in place because I'm safe. And so I struggled a little bit about that. But as I prayed about it, thought about it, I'm glad I went on and joined this organization because my heart is so inspired to, first of all, begin to honor the gift and honor the gift of Black artists and artists of color.
Okay, one moment, Kristi.
In this area.
One moment, Kristi. We need to have someone turn the radio down in the background because we're getting the feedback
okay.
from the radio.
All right. Is that better?
Yes.
Yeah, all righty. And to create that space for that dialogue, I'm also involved in some really important dialogue centered around racism in these organizations, which is really exciting because there's this opportunity for all these organizations local here in Cleveland and in Cuyahoga County and the state to now begin to recognize the importance of our art. Now, when I say our art, I have to be careful because, I hate to fit us in this category that if we're Black, then this is the kind of art we do. Or if we're Black, we're only representing Black art and Black issues, which that's so important, yes, but not necessarily want to box us into that. But just the mere fact that these organizations are now willing to look and listen and try to change and grow is an exciting place to be that I'm in. It's also an exciting place for me, too, because that energy that we were talking about when we're in the midst of our creative space, and what do we do with that energy? I also like to look at the energy of youth and the gifts that they bring, and how, I get so much energy from them and listening to them and participating with the youth, and vice versa. It's a wonderful exchange that happens. And I think what happens is, while, I think more on the administrative level and getting my foot in the door that way, that energy and voice and that the youth are bringing are the ones that's out in the street that's saying, yes, here, look here. Look at this issue.
Exactly.
You have to face it. So the within and the without is so important. And I'm so happy these days with laser focus being placed on the issue of lack of finances, lack of recognition. And these organizations are also finally acknowledging that they have had this desire to include us, and they're wondering how come we don't. And one of the things I'm able to talk about is we're not known, we're not seen, and there's a big reason why. We're over here waving our hands all the time and stomping our feet and saying, here we are, yes, we have all this to contribute. But there's this huge gap, and the gap has to be made up by these predominantly white organizations that have the money, that have the funding, and have the way of getting it to us.
Mm-hmm. I want to wind things down because we only have about 4 minutes left, but I really want to underscore what you just said, because part of the problem is that they say that they're not aware of us, but the other part of the problem is they're not willing to concede any of the power that they have to bring us into the room so that we can affect the decisions that are being made. That's a very huge problem as we navigate where we're at right now. But I also want to talk about how both of you as artists are navigating this so-called new normal. We don't expect things to be as they are forever, but it is a very difficult time in terms of sharing your art and being connected to audiences as you were before. So what kinds of things are you doing now to bridge the gap between what was and what is now, Eriq?
For me, I just create. As a creator, my obedience to the creator is to create. It's just that simple. For those who have eyes, let them see. For those who have ears, let them hear. For me, I just, and not to minimize what Sister Kristi is doing, we need those people, those advocates in those places. Mm-hmm. However, for someone like me who have always been rejected, who have been, I know what it's like to be booed. I'm the last of that generations that got stuff thrown at you, equipment ruined. Yeah. I say that to say this, and I'm going to hurry up and wrap it up. I don't need anybody else's approval. The fact that my gift was given to me by the divine is approval enough. My job is to be obedient to the creation, regardless and in spite of whatever time it is, because the time that I have, or my gift is timeless. So for me, that's, I speak boldly about it because because it comes from a divine place. And that is making my way. And as far as those finances that you talk about, Vince, even that too will come. So that's a whole nother show, I guess. But,
well, yeah, I mean, and I received that. My brother, because we always think about, we got to sit around and wait for somebody to give something to us when we have the ability as creators to create our own reality, to create our own income, to create our own platform or paradigm. So it's not about waiting for them to hand us out something. It's about us going out there and getting it for ourselves. Kristi?
Yeah, and this time has been a little bit difficult for me because as a visual artist and need to have my hands on, my studio building was closed for quite some time. So I could not physically go in and do art. And then also trying to I was also in 2 shows at the time in galleries that could not have foot traffic. So suddenly having to make this shift to virtual, I struggled with a little bit. But then that's when my poetry and my essays and my words start to rise up even more and make more impact than even those items that I have in the show. So I've been really blessed that I've had some pieces broadcast and put out there that have been very impactful in a new way. I love what both of you are saying about receiving directly from the Creator and letting it flow out of us in this unique way that we have to do right now in this time.
Okay. Well, we're going to have to button it up right there, and I want to thank both of you, Kristi Copez, Eriq Troi, both very dynamic artists, and I'm looking forward to seeing the movie that you've scored, Eriq. Please let us know about that. Tag me, email me.
Will do.
Facebook, message me. You want to see that because what I saw was phenomenal. Brother Hamptonio, did you have any words of wisdom that you wanted to pass along before we close the show down?
Yeah, just before we get out, again, it's all about working collectively. Once we work collectively, and people respect and change the mindset of what you're doing, then we don't always have to keep asking somebody for something and to help us along. It's about changing the mindset and respecting our culture of what we do. Then we will permanently we will push our way into the spots of what we need.
Okay. With that, I'd like to invite those of you who are in the listening audience who are interested in becoming an advertiser on 360 Info Network to reach out to Brother Stephen E. Boyd at 216-526-1297. That's 216-526-1297. And again, I thank our guests, Kristi Copez and Eriq Troi. We need to continue this conversation on Facebook Live, so I want to put something together and invite both of you and some others to have this conversation in front of a live audience, and we will continue to raise consciousness here in Cleveland and around the world. Thank you to those of you who are viewing us on Facebook. We really appreciate your participation in our show. And we're looking to expand this. We do have a website. It's 360InfoNetworkRadio.com. You can go there. You can also go to our Facebook page, 360 Info Network. We post things on there that are of vital interest to our community. Check me out on Facebook on my page, Instagram, Vince.Robinson on Instagram. And please go to my YouTube channel. We do these podcasts. We post the show after the fact so that you can go back and listen to it at your leisure and hear quality guests such as the ones that you just heard. We'd like to thank our engineer, Juju, who did a great job in standing in for our usual engineer, Tristan. And again, thank you all for listening. Know yourself, love yourself, be yourself, make it a great day, Cleveland. Peace.